Welcome in to another edition of Big Men on Basketball. It is Friday, February 17th, 2023. I hope you're all having a great day wherever you are. And we are back here on a Friday. I almost said 2022. It's crazy how quick the years go anymore. But we are back wrapping up the week here. Got a big weekend of hoops, and it's the first weekend in a very long time without football. So for all of you folks that are on board, you're getting into basketball, tomorrow will be your first Saturday. Make sure you tread lightly and make sure you check out Kelly, Megan, and I on our Twitter Spaces tomorrow. Those two host it. And Kelly, that'll be a fun day. A lot of people are coming back into the fold after football. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really good. Just got done doing a couple other college basketball shows today. The Friday card is more appealing than it normally is. Obviously, don't do much with the Ivy Leagues, but I got a couple questions for you regarding a couple of those teams that people put on my radar today. The game that I played earlier this morning has already moved quite a bit. The one I sent to you, not quite a bit. When it moves through zero, though, it's always an interesting one. So excited to talk about that. And as you mentioned, Saturday Spaces has been a really fun one. Last weekend, I tried to record it. I don't know what happened. Somehow I locked Megan out. So we're going to try to get through just one Saturday without some tech issues.
Yeah, I think, a lot of some of the times when you record it, it's interesting because, sometimes people, they get it, they want it, they don't watch it, but then they want it. So you have to kind of try to adhere to everybody, but it is what it is. I'm sure if you really want to be listening, you'll be listening live at 11 a.m. That's the best way to catch it, quite honestly.
Yeah, I know. 8 a.m. on the West Coast is not ever fun on a Saturday morning. I get it. But listen, as lots of handicappers always like to say, the grind never sleeps. I know I don't get a lot of sleep, as sometimes written all over my face. But before we get started, I got to ask, how was Chicago?
It was good. I had a good time. It was a quick trip, but it was enjoyable. It was good to see those guys and girls out there. They're always all very cool and nice, and we had a good time. Had some good food. Had a little
maybe
party.
Some more Chicago in your future now that one of the offices is going to be moving there.
Maybe I don't know. I mean, I'm not a big fan of change, to be honest. However, I definitely would like to go out there more. I never quite realized how, just close it is. It's only an hour and a half away flight wise. So, I think it's something we'll definitely do. But I enjoyed it. It's a cool office. I know they're about to move, but it's a cool office, and we put out some cool stuff. So, it was enjoyable. I'll definitely probably go out there again soon. How's the week been for you? I had a pretty good night on Thursday night or Wednesday night. Then last night I split them. Kind of irritated in a way. I kind of said on the show that I liked Gonzaga. I probably wish I would have went with them. What an incredible performance by that group. But I got Maryland, which is a good one.
Nice. Yeah, I ended up skipping out on Maryland, unfortunately. But man, I had LMU, and I was playing against that revenge factor. And I wish that I would have done the show with you yesterday and heard you say that. That would have probably been enough to talk me off. Saw a good friend of mine was on Gonzaga right before tip 2, and I was thinking, God, am I sitting here with a losing ticket in hand? And it was over before it even started. It was like 35-10. The second time I checked the score, and I was like, screw this. I'm going to bed. I don't care anymore. That was after I gave out Ohio State, who just absolutely fell flat on their face for the 8th game in a row now. There's some teams that I've added to the do not bet list, and Ohio State, unfortunately, right now is one of them.
Gonzaga with a 68-point first half. That is probably the best. I think that might have been the best first half I've probably ever seen in college basketball. That was really something. They finished with 1.38 points per possession. I mean, 1.4 is about as good as you can get. They were up 50 at one point in the second half. They only made 8 threes. That's how efficient they were. They shot over 65% from 2. That's hard to do. So shout out to them. I'll tell you right now, that offense is playing as good as anyone in the country right now. I think that's the thing we forget about Gonzaga. They're still a very good offense. That was impressive. I also will say one of the weirdest results that I personally had, one of the late plays I made was Oral Roberts has been a good bet. Their team totals have been easy money. They score like 86 points a game. They had 49 points at the half with a team total at 87.5. They scored 24 in the second half. And they're one of the best second half teams in America, one of the weirdest bets ever. But that said, let's kind of move to today. As you said, this is kind of what Friday cards are. Usually there'll be like an 8-10 game or two. Maybe you get lucky and there's like a, I don't know, like an SEC or not SEC, but like a some sort of higher end, like a big.
Every once in a while, there's a Pac-12 or a Big Ten game on a Friday. Usually, though, it's pretty scattered. Every once in a while, a nice Mountain West team, which is who I'm going to be on tonight. But yeah, these Ivy leagues are always interesting because they play back-to-back spots, and it's kind of an interesting handicap.
A league that I play probably the least in America are two leagues that generally play tonight: the MAAC and the Ivy. Just don't play them very often. The MAAC is really tough. I've always felt like it's tough. I've told stories about when I was very not young, like 19, 20, when I really kind of was just out of high school. I had some interesting nights with that conference. I'll just say that, betting cigars and having fun, stuff like that. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to get us fined.
Is that a thing? I thought that was just on TikTok. See, that's more reasons for me not to want to participate in TikToks. They're making up more rules. Now I can't curse on TikTok.
Well, TikTok's hard, man. I've already gotten the account warning thing twice.
Yep.
Where
same.
Like I post stuff, and I mean, obviously the stuff that I talk about is pretty bad, but
yeah, but it's not like you're talking about how to commit said crime.
No, but
right?
even just like explaining historical things, like if it has any buzzwords, they cut it off. And I'll tell you another thing.
Wild.
YouTube's getting to that point. I mean, I get like threats of demonetization all the time because of things. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. But
all you're really doing, correct me if I'm wrong, because I've only seen a couple of them. All you're really doing is storytelling.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
Factual things and events that
absolutely
happened.
Yeah,
okay.
For sure. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's super, like I could understand if someone's like live streaming, like beating people or something, but it's like,
which is terrible. And you see it all over the internet every single day.
That's the thing. It's very odd.
People go on Facebook Live and show them jumping other people. I don't know.
Yeah. Shooting up things. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's terrible.
Yeah. It's really odd how like the whole, like I can be called every name in the book. And as soon as I respond to call someone like a dumbass, I get suspended from Twitter for 12 hours.
It cracks me up. Twitter's like, do you want to tweet this? I'm like, stop asking me stupid questions. Tweet. Yes, I want to tweet this.
Yes. By the way, if you're watching this show on Twitter, wherever you're watching YouTube, do me a favor, hit the retweet button, please. It's a good way to grow the channel, grow the show. So please do that. Real quick, Andrew B says, Nadu, you got me hooked on North Alabama. Ooh. Yes, that is one of my favorite teams. I've backed them 3 or 4 times in a row, and they have got the job done every time. So yeah, I'll take it. Someone's asking about EMU. That's a game I'm going to get into. Quick question. Are you going to be on streams for March Madness? Are you not invited because of beefs with Rico and Brandon? First of all, I have no beefs with Rico. I don't know what some of these folks, I have to admit, I think they're just trying to get shit started, but like, I
have no idea. Like, I never know what's going on. That's the beauty of being remote. I just have to text Megan or Rico. I'm like, can someone explain this to me? I have no idea.
Well, Kelly, I mean, even you know that like me and Rico shook hands in December. That was a long time ago.
Cordial.
And it's like people come in here, hey, what's up with the beef with B-Walk? And it's like, I don't have a beef with B-Walk. Listen, guys, I think there's something that people need to realize. There are a lot of things that I think sometimes people don't understand. Like, I respect Brandon Walker to the utmost. I think he's a very good host. I think he does a lot of good things. There are things that I don't like about him that he doesn't like about me. It doesn't mean we don't like each other, guys. Okay, it doesn't.
Now I need to know. Did I miss something? Was there like some unwritten?
No. I've said before, like I think some of the way he acts is a little out of control. Like I think he's a little arrogant sometimes. But
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I joked with Megan and I go, how come I never get asked to be on Pick Central? And she goes,
yeah, that's top of the list.
And I go, that's okay. And, I've been on Pick Central with Big Ev, with Mincy, whatever, nobody else is there. But when Brandon's there, and he never texts me back, I text him good insight on teams that I've gotten before, just leaves me on red. So I'm just like, okay, I guess I'll go fuck myself.
Yeah, I was told by him at one point that we don't do Zoom Pick Centrals. And then I said to them, hey, if you guys ever want me and, whatever. I think Brandon's still upset about the September 1st when I was in there and he didn't ask me to be on the show. So I went into Dave's office and just charted a Twitter space as they were doing Pick Central. He wasn't very happy about that. But that said,
That's hilarious.
That said, we also praise each other. Like I think, have a mutual respect for each other. I think he's a great college football capper. I love talking college football with him. So.
He definitely knows a lot about college football. He knows way more about college football. But I think something that James just pointed out there, Brandon doesn't like the in-depth gambling talk. It's because Brandon doesn't know the in-depth gambling talk. It's not his job to.
Right.
His job is to talk about college football. Unnecessary roughness, great show. Really enjoy listening to him. Jack, Matt, Casey, and Katie whenever she chimes in with hilarious shit. But
that's pretty funny, actually.
I love Megan.
There's no
Megan's
beef,
like top 5 favorite people ever.
Yeah. No, it's so funny. But I think sometimes the fans of Barstool, like Stoolies, I think they read a little too much into stuff where it's like, yeah, look, there's no beef. Like someone hit me up today and said, what's up with you and Eddie? I didn't know you guys hated each other. And it's like,
what?
No, we don't hate each other. Like, I think he's a scumbag, but I don't mean it literally. Like, it's a joke.
Well, and I also think too, depending on where you come from, and we've said this before on the show, you have different dialects, you have different slang words, you have different ways of saying things. Like you'll hear, being in the South more now that my parents are down here, I'll hear things like bless your heart, which really basically is like, fuck you. Right? Like, but it's a nice Southern way to say it. It's like when I go to Boston and somebody calls you pal, is it like, wait, was that condescending? Or like, it's
I call people pal, like when they're my pal, like, hey, yo, pal. Like,
but that's what I mean. So to say like these people read through where you say Eddie's a scumbag, like, is Eddie a scumbag, or is it like your term of endearment from Philly?
It's just like it's just like anyone breaks his balls. Like I don't know. Just remember.
He was breaking my balls pretty hard when I was in the Chicago office, and rightfully so. That's the best part about Barstool is I would like to think most of us can have a good time without feelings being hurt, but unfortunately, that doesn't always seem to be the case.
Absolutely. And you still get asked about stuff like you deaded months ago, and it's like, where you been? Like you watch Barstool, so how do you not know that like Rico and I's like apology? I think it did like 2 million views on Twitter.
Wow.
Like everybody saw it. Everyone. It was on Front Street. So. All right, let's get into some games here. I'm going to start with a game someone asked me about. Someone's bringing up Eastern Michigan. Listen, Eastern Michigan's really a team that you have to, I think, approach with the thought that they just don't really care. They don't really care about playing defense. I mean, that's just how they are. They're not a team that's going to win anything. They only have 3 league wins. They only have 6 in the season overall. They're the worst 2-point defense in America. They just don't really care about defense, and they can quickly get blown out like they did against Akron. 9 times out of 10, when they play a good basketball team, they're going to struggle. You look at Akron, got crushed in both those games. Did lose by 14 the first time these two teams played. Now this game is in Kent. They can score the ball, but let me tell you, Kent State's one of the best defensive teams in this conference. It can really just get after you on that end. If I had to play it, I would lean laying the points as opposed to taking them. But I've kind of said I'm done with giving leans out because people hold me to it. I'm not betting this game. I don't have any interest in this game. Gun to my head, if I had to play it, I would lean with the favorite. Eastern Michigan is just a lazy, lackadaisical defensive team. And it really is just about, does Imani Bates care about playing tonight or does he not care about playing tonight? So I wouldn't be involved with it.
That is pretty crazy that certain teams live and die by the only player that I can name on both teams, right? And that's the question mark here is how do you handicap when a key player or the only key player is going to have an on or off night? And I think that there's way too much argument there. I wouldn't want to touch this game with a 10-foot pole, just looking at it on paper. But going back to your leans thing, Jeff, I'm gonna get some leans out of Jeff for you guys, but I swear on everything holy, if you guys jump in on Twitter or jump in these comments and get bitchy about some of the games that I'm asking about, then I'm just not gonna be able to do that anymore. So let's just understand that there are games that we're playing. There's games we're talking about. There's games that I'm asking about because I'm curious that other people that I respect are on. And if Jeff likes it, may get me to the window considering I don't follow a lot of these smaller conferences. So please, everybody in the comment section, do me a favor. Just don't give Jeff a bunch of shit. If somebody asks him about some obscure game and he's like, lean towards X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, and To be honest, as most of you see, I only usually play a few games a night, and I just talk about the other games just kind of just as a talking point, or it's an interesting game. I will say here, though, I think it's correlation. If you like Kent State, I'd probably just play the under. They have a good ability to kind of shut you down and make you play the tempo they want to play. If you like Eastern Michigan, you should probably take the over, because to cover 18, they're going to probably have to score in the 60s to get there. So, yeah.
Can I answer JJ's question in the comment section? What's the point of having a lean and not betting it? So here's my
we're content creators, JJ, so we have to kind of give opinions occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, could you guys imagine how terrible it would be if I just came on Jeff's show and was like, I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion. No, I don't want to give an opinion. You guys would be like, what the fuck, Kelly? So I think the idea is not only that, is that there's talking points about games. And there have been times, whether it's on this show or through Spaces, where once we talk through a game, it's almost like I get talked into that side that I did lean. Or maybe, as I mentioned last night, I probably wouldn't have been on Gonzaga because I liked LMU, but that might have saved me from putting out a losing pick. So the reason why is because, A, I don't like to play a ton of games in college basketball. 2, we got to talk about opinions. And 3, most people like to hear that, because if it's a game they either agree with or disagree with, they may end up getting to the window with it.
Exactly. And that's the when you do content, you have to kind of occasionally do things. You have to talk about stuff maybe that you don't have a huge opinion on, but people want to hear about it. So I just try to kind of fill the space with other games and things like that. All right. Do I have any thoughts on Oakland, Detroit? I probably just lean over in that game, but I don't have much on it. Guys, you don't have to send any money into the show. It's not necessary. That said, I don't think it's necessary to do that. Guys, again, the whole – I don't generally try to steal women that have husbands. That's not my goal. I don't want to hurt anybody's relationship.
I do think it's
really
funny.
Just for fun. I think sometimes people take it a little too literally. Like, I'm not going to go up and if I see a dude with a woman, I'm not going to I'm not a total scumbag, I promise. No one has to worry about Barstool. I'm not going to – not that I would anyway. You know what I'm saying? Kelly's boyfriend's cool. He don't have to worry. I respect people. I ain't gonna do that. No one on.
You crack me up.
Yeah, it's just, and you don't have to send any money, guys. It's not necessary.
Yeah, I don't think we get that money anyway, do we? It goes to the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube
we don't get that
account. I'd be curious if we could log into the back end and see how much money is actually in there and be like, hi.
Yes, I don't get that. I don't get $2.50. Kelly don't get the $2.50. Doesn't go to us. All right, let's go to the next one here. Quick thought: Dayton and Loyola Chicago. By the way, Dante the Don went to Loyola Chicago. I never knew
did.
That said, I thought this game might be a little high. I think I might play this small. I don't think it's the greatest play in the world, but I think it's a decent spot. I mean, Loyola is a group that recently has actually played teams for the most part pretty tough in this conference. I've said before, I don't think this is a real good conference. And I think as long as Loyola Chicago, it's all about turnovers with them. If they're not turning the ball, getting the ball turned over, they're actually a pretty decent offense. If you look at their ability in the half court, I believe they're top 40 in 2-point offense. And you look at Dayton, they don't force turnovers at all. I think they're like 295th nationally. I think they're one of the worst in the conference. They really don't ball hawk you. They're just going to kind of make you play in the half court. And I feel like if Loyola can get in the half court, I don't think they actually are that bad here. You got a 7-point home dog who in the first game here, 85-81, they lost. It was a close game. I mean, went to overtime. They were right in it. I think Loyola can actually do what they kind of want to do on offense. Really, for them, the problem is defense. And we remember under Porter Moser, this was a great defensive team. That's kind of been gone under Drew Valentine. They're just not the same defensive team. So I kind of want to take a little Loyola here at home. I think this is a pretty decent spot for them against a big team in this conference who is obviously one of the leaders. I kind of like them here a little bit. Any thought?
Yeah, Jeff, was it you? I apologize if it wasn't. I've done so many shows over the last few weeks, but this was something that somebody said, and I believe it was you, that stuck out to me. I don't want to be laying points with teams that can't make their free throws. And that,
yeah, I mean, that's.
I've only watched maybe 2 Dayton games this year, but they are very frustrating from the stripe, and that scares me.
They're also a team that is not a good 3-point shooting team. They're also a team that has trouble turning the basketball over. I think in this conference, they're going to win a lot of close games because I've said before, I don't think this is very good at the top. I mean, I think there's a team or two that you can get involved with. But yeah, I think Dayton is a tough team to back. They also play very slow. It's not conducive to laying a lot of points. Again, I think it's too many on the road here. It's just my thought.
I might have to join you on that one.
I might play it small. I don't know if I'm going to go crazy with it, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on. Kelly, you mentioned to me you kind of liked Wyoming a bit tonight. I kind of agree. We obviously know that the Mountain West is an interesting conference because it's a lot of tough travel. Laramie is a tough spot to go. That said,
yes, it is.
Air Force make the trip every year. Air Force isn't particularly easy to get to either. I don't really have much on that as far as it's definitely a tough road spot. I think Wyoming's a better team. I think we have to remember the team that lost to Air Force and Wyoming in the first game is a totally different team than tonight. They're going to have Ducell back. They're going to have Thompson back. They're going to have Maldonado back. This is a much better Wyoming team than the first time they played in this game. So Wyoming has revenge. They're at home here. You also see this number, open 4. It's been bet up to 5, right? So, Air Force is a team that I know you've backed a few times. I think this is a better Wyoming team than maybe the numbers might tell us. I don't think they're real good because they still don't have Graham Ike, but the one that lost 82-74 back on January 17th, about a month ago, different team than the one that's going to go out there tonight. I understand why the line's 5. I think it's about right. I lean Wyoming here, though.
Yeah, I was a little late to the party. I made the game 3.5. I saw that Megan gave out she gave out Air Force, and I said, I just can't trust this team for a full game. Every single time I have watched an Air Force game or bet on them this year, they have just been so frustrating. Shout out to Fred. He asked me to wish him a happy birthday. So happy birthday, Fred. I will not probably be getting involved in this one. I did lean towards Wyoming, but now I think I'm too late. If anything, I lean Air Force in the first half. Is just a play where we've seen this team come out strong. I don't trust them down the stretch. They don't get boards. They frustrate me from a tempo standpoint. They don't put a ton of pressure on teams defensively that are like Wyoming, right? We know Wyoming's not the fastest team, but we know that they are a pretty good shooting team, particularly at home. I got another guy asking in the comments about where we like to look at stats. I've said it a bazillion times that KenPom Plus is one of my favorites because I can manipulate the data between home and road, conference and non-conference, wins and losses. You can even check off weird, like obscure wins or losses. If you think it's like, oh, that was an anomaly, you can uncheck it and manipulate the data. But yeah, I would have to say it's Wyoming or pass for me here.
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime you play Air Force, you're really kind of a slave to whether they make threes or not. That's kind of their MO. If they're not making them, they can get blown out pretty quick. And that's why you see a lot of variation. You look at the last couple of games they played, they're relatively close in the first half, and then they end up losing by double digits. So, that's kind of an issue here. You throw in the fact that you're on the road, and you're against a team that's got some revenge in their mind. Look, revenge is important, man. I mean, the last couple of nights I've played a lot of teams that were in revenge. Maryland last night. I played Gonzaga a little bit last night. On a Wednesday night, same thing. So, teams remember the first game, and getting them at home in a conducive atmosphere is important. So, yeah, I kind of like Wyoming a little bit myself here. Someone's saying this is actually a pretty good comment. I played Pitt to win the ACC at 3.5 to 1. They've already have head-to-head wins over Miami and Virginia. And actually, if the ACC tournament started today, they would be the number 1 seed in the ACC. So, yeah, Pitt's done a really great job this year. I mean, Capel's really turned that program around. I think if you're watching college basketball, you should know what's going on with Pitt. They've been really good, and whether or not they can actually win this conference, I don't really know, but I think it's definitely valuable. You definitely want to look at their splits and things like that. But yeah, I mean, they would be the number 1 seed if the tournament started today. A lot of people asking about MAC, Ivy. I don't have much personally on those games. We'll see what Kelly thinks in a bit. I want to just talk about one more game here on the kind of slate. One that I actually did bet. I did play San Jose, Kelly. I'm not going to lie to you. This is another spot, major revenge game. San Jose got crushed in this first meeting. It was kind of one of those really weird games for them. I'll tell you what, I mean, Tim Miles has done a pretty nice job with this team. I'm not a huge Tim Miles fan, but if you'd have told me they'd have 16 wins with, still like 6 games to go, I'd have told you you're crazy. They're not an easy team to watch, but you look at on both ends, they're actually pretty decent on defense and offense. They're okay. They're a good offensive rebounding team, and you look at kind of the drain that New Mexico's circling. I mean, they've lost 4 straight.
Ever since that Nevada game
yep.
That you and I both gave out, it's like Nevada broke this team. Wyoming to go into the pit and win outright, that was shocking. I mean, I think they were double-digit underdogs. Weren't they like minus 10.5 or plus 10.5 to start? And I think they closed 9.5.
And they're struggling with, they don't have a lot of, outside of Jalen House, who's out or has been out. They don't really have a lot of shot makers outside of Mashburn, who, is a good player, but he can't do it all himself. San Jose's big. They got a couple big 7-footers. I think they can utilize that against Udeze, who's a pretty good big for New Mexico. This is a clash in styles. You have one team that wants to play really fast, who's at home, or really slow, who's at home, against a team who wants to play very fast, who's on the road. To me, I think San Jose gets the revenge. And I also got to be honest, I think you see a 19-7 team, a team that was ranked just a couple of weeks ago. You see them getting points. You kind of want to jump on them here. We know how important, Kelly, home road splits are in conference college basketball. Something tells me that New Mexico just continues to struggle. And I've also will say this. You have to tread lightly on what these people like John Rothstein are telling you. I'm not saying John Rothstein's not a decent reporter, because he is, but a lot of the time he has no idea whether these guys are going to play or not. And that said, even if House does play, how effective is he? I mean, he's a guard. His conditioning hasn't been in there a while. To me, I think San Jose gets the job done. I played the money line here. I think they win the game late night.
Yeah, I took them +1 earlier this morning when I texted you. That was the only game I got to the window with thus far. And I was shocked right before I did 2 other shows this morning. And right when I logged in to double check some stuff, I go, Barstool Sportsbook, San Jose State -1.5. I'm late to the party here to give it out, but I do think that they are going to get the win. I would agree with you here, Jeff. Let me look at the current money line actually on this team, because that is something that we can argue back and forth a lot, right? Is it the right play to lay 1.5 -110, or is the smarter play just to lay -130 and hopefully they get the win? I did lay the 1.5 here, -110. -130, -140 is kind of my threshold, but I do think this team will win by 2 or more there at home.
Yeah, I think if you just, the one thing that when you play New Mexico, if you can avoid fouling, I mean, they are very good at getting to line. They're one of the best teams in America. I believe Mashburn and House lead this conference on getting to the free throw line. So if you can utilize and just defend without fouling, you're going to be in this game. And I think San Jose's got a good shot because they don't foul. And I think they have some kids that can combat the big for New Mexico. I think it's a pretty good matchup for them. Omari Moore's been good for San Jose. I have to admit, I wouldn't have told you that I thought they'd be a top 95 team, but here they are. They've done a pretty good job in it. I'm just hoping that they're shooting under 70% doesn't come back and hurt me, but I'm just asking you, make 17 at 22. That's what I'm asking. Give me that. But I think we're in agreement here. San Jose is likely to play. I played it, and that's what I'm going to rock with. Why don't you ever talk about XFL? Because I don't care about XFL.
XFL. My buddy Drew was texting in the group chat this morning. I don't remember what time, but entirely too early to be talking about XFL. And I thought it was hilarious that's what I woke up to, going, I didn't even know it was starting. What I can give you this. He likes the unders this weekend. For what it's worth, he gave an entire thread this long, and I just scrolled to the bottom and said, okay, thanks.
Yeah, I couldn't care less about it, to be honest. What are your thoughts on Wright State, Cleveland State? I think it's coin flippy. Wright State is kind of a maddening team. Talk about a team that pretty good offensively, but they just really don't stop anyone. They played well, though, recently. I think they've won 4 or 5 overall. I think it's the first time these two teams are playing, or maybe they did play, and I think Wright lost. So I don't know, kind of up in the air. I didn't have much on it. That's really it for me. That's all I really had personally. What about you, Kelly? Anything?
The only game that I was going to ask you about, a good friend of mine texted me about it this morning. Fairfield at Marist. I am not a big lay points on the road type of person here. He said that they were worth laying the money line, minus 135. I was curious as your thoughts because I can't name a single player on either one of these teams. As you guys all know, this is not a conference that I would typically follow. I know where Fairfield is for what it's worth, but this is not the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, if you will, is not big on my radar.
No, it's not a conference I like either. Yeah, I would probably lean on playing Fairfield. Marist is pretty bad. They have a good coach, but they just don't have much talent on this team. By the way, I think Fairfield is one of the better name guys in America. Supreme Cook.
Yeah.
It's a great name, but yeah, I didn't have much on that one. I mean, I think it's just coin flippy. Two bad teams. Fairfield's not played real well recently. They've lost 4 or 5 overall. Just two bad teams. Don't make money on bad teams.
There you go. Good enough to keep me off of it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Team Giannis revenge game?
Oh God, we're really.
That's this weekend.
We're gonna bet the All-Star. Yeah, it's All-Star break starting today through next Thursday.
Great. Yeah, I don't have much on it. I just I don't care about all.
Mac McClung dunk contest winner. The narrative is there. Interesting. I do think that there is a lot of narratives in play with
What's
some
the
of
narrative?
these.
Is he an NBA player? How can he?
I do not know what Anton Feldman's narrative is there, but I'd be really curious because I would agree. Anytime there's a narrative and you have people that are voting with biases, you will see time to time that those people do win or do score higher. So. Yeah, Andrew's right. Over in the All-Star game, always. I mean, they just make it sky high every single year, and that's kind of my problem. Jeff Nadu, he's a Sixer. I love it. He plays for the Sixers.
But what's the narrative though?
I don't know.
I don't get it. So he's on
the first two-way player to be in the dunk contest. He said.
Who cares?
Also, break equals a break from betting the NBA. Yes. Thank you, Adrian Santiago. You are correct. The NBA, man, outside of the Oklahoma City Thunder, I have just been kind of on the same little roller coaster ride. So I'm glad that they're on All-Star break because now we get to start really seeing these teams come to fruition, whether they're tanking, whether they're playing for something or not. Because, January, February is just frustrating to bet the NBA. Night in and night out, it is just grueling.
This is a classic quote by Kevin Durant regarding Mac McClung in the All-Star game or a dunk contest. This is very funny. And it's how I feel. Mac McClung, which is crazy that they're doing that out the G League. No shade, but what are we doing? Mac is an outstanding athlete, but what are we doing? Question mark. That's so true. Why is he in the dunk? I mean, see, that's where the dunk contest is now. Where you have guys that aren't even in the league in the dunk. Maybe we should quit the dunk contest. How about that? Maybe we should stop doing it. None of these people want to play in it. Why do we do it?
Good point. I don't know why. I mean, All-Star break should actually be a break. I don't know what they're doing.
Yes, All-Star break. Good point, Kelly. All right, let's transfer our thoughts to quickly. Have you looked at the card tomorrow at all, Kelly?
Just a little bit. I was going to work on it a little bit more this evening. As I mentioned, typically Fridays are pretty chill for me, but we started a new college basketball show. And so that took up quite a bit of my afternoon. There's a couple of games that I looked at, Kansas State being the most notable one, looked at Baylor, Kansas, looked at Tennessee, Kentucky, kind of leaning towards Mizzou over A&M. Illinois and Indiana is going to be a good one as well. There's some interesting storylines here and a lot of really good games on the card. So I got a long night ahead of me of handicapping, but I will say I already laid 2.5 with Kansas State. Talking about revenge, that's been the argument for today. K-State is looking for that elusive 20th win. They've just been treading water. They lost at Texas Tech, at Oklahoma, and now back in the good old octagon of doom, Bramlage Coliseum. I do think that K-State's going to be able to get their revenge here from an Iowa State team that's road dichotomy versus their home is just completely different. This team plays so much slower on the road. I know a lot of people are like, oh, of course, Kelly went to K-State. It's actually the only 4th time I've played them this year. I am 3-0, either playing on or against this team. I haven't gotten involved that much. Just full disclosure, this team has been frustrating. They like to turn the ball over, and they drive me absolutely bonkers. But at home, they do protect the ball significantly more. So that is the one game that I've so far bet. As far as a couple of the other games on my list, I was looking at the Illinois-Indiana under, and that's it.
Yeah, I like Kentucky. First of all, that's one that I have some interest in. I actually like K-State as well. David Nagesian played a few minutes the other night. I'm hoping that means he's back. They'd be fully healthy then. Getting him back is give them a big down low that you can add in there. They're at home. You said in revenge. That's a great one. I probably will bet that right when I get out of here.
I lean Kentucky as well with you, Jeff, but I think Kentucky in the first half is more of an interesting play. And this is just purely situational. And that would be because, well, what did we see Tennessee do last? That's right. They knocked off the number one team in the land, Alabama. And yes, they're going to have revenge on their minds here, but I don't know if they get their revenge until the second half. I think Kentucky is going to come out playing a lot better. We've talked about this Kentucky team. There's nothing wrong with this team. They're just not the Kentucky team that all the Wildcats fans and backers are used to betting, right? This team has 2 or 3 losses around this time of year. So the fact that they have 6, everybody is losing their minds. And I think that that's probably a little bit of an overreaction. I do think Calipari has this team playing better now. And sorry, that's 6 conference losses. They have 9 losses total. But that being said, I lean Kentucky, but I think if I played them, it would only be in the first half.
We'll talk about all that and more tomorrow. Me, Kelly, and Megan on the Twitter Spaces. Jeff, hit me up for a fade. I got you in a free haircut. I'm good. I'm very happy with my barber. Been going on for 15 years. I'm good with it. Guys, I don't care about your opinions on my hair. I'm good. Promise. I don't need
It is always funny how everybody always has opinions.
It gets old, man. It really does. Especially on like a Friday. It's just like, do we always have to have an opinion on everything? Always? Like I have carpet. Oh, you're poor.
I have carpet in my office. You know why? Because it helps with the sound. Let me tell you, the Vegas house has tile, and all I do is get bitched at about how bad the sound is because it echoes off the tile.
It's amazing.
You have to have carpet when you're doing sound room.
Yeah, I get my carpet cleaned because I like to, have it cleaned every year or two. It's important. There's a lot of stuff in carpet I don't want to breathe in.
Great.
Your carpet. Oh, you're poor. You have carpet. Oh, your car. That's not really your car.
But if you had like that fake wood with a rug over it, all of a sudden you're not poor. Like, I don't get it. People are funny.
I'll be honest. I mean, I know plenty of, like, my mother and father have a beautiful home. Beautiful. Like 5,000 square feet home. Their bedroom is all carpet. They love carpet in their bedroom.
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
My dad's biggest beef because I bought on my house and put in that fake wood. Oh, I hate getting out. The floor's cold in the morning. So I bought him a rug. I'm like, you didn't want carpet. Now you got carpet that moves. Like, what's the fucking difference? It's not.
Yeah.
It's funny.
There's always something, man. It's a wild world, man.
But that's just what you're going to get. It's just all of it is like you said with the leans. Half the people are happy, half the people are pissed. I just told some guy on Twitter a minute ago. He goes, "Oh, what a terrible night." Well, where were you the night before when I went 2-0? You weren't here. I'm just hoping that you maybe overlooked it and aren't coming here just to chirp me on the losses only. That's how it works. Yeah, I know. I try to hire the green ones. It doesn't matter because then they don't actually clean the carpet. What are you going to do?
No, yeah,
you can't win.
I saw that kid Tyler in the Chicago chat the other day. He was
okay.
He commented probably 100 times in like a 15-minute period.
I love people like that. Helps our algorithm. It's great. Jump in, give us all the comments, all the good, all the bad. I love it because all it does is help build the Barstool Sports.
But it's everything from Tyler's. I hate everything Barstool. They suck. Everything they do sucks. But he's here on every show.
I was going to say, but here he is.
It's amazing.
It's great.
You guys realize that if you hate something, right, you should boycott it and never watch it. That's
pretty funny. Here, I want to address David Healy because I did want to comment on this, and I said something last night on Twitter. David Healy, hey, Nadu and Kelly, what do you think of Tiger giving JT a tampon? So when people were sending me that yesterday, I thought it was like photoshopped. I thought it was like somebody insinuating that JT was being a pussy, right? Like, I don't know. As a woman, tampons are just things that are a part of your life. It is what it is. I'm guessing now that we know it's real, Tiger had either his caddy or whoever. Those are those shitty ones out of the quarter or 50-cent machine. And I think he was just trying to be funny. Like, but Tiger, anytime Tiger's around anywhere, there's going to be cameras. So I think he just didn't give a shit that anybody saw it or didn't hear it. If you don't have a sense of humor, I'm sorry, you should probably work on getting one because it was fucking hilarious. That's my only thoughts.
I will say, and I've said this before, you talk about one of the great scumbags in sports history, Tiger Woods. Just a total.
But they all love him.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's
he
crazy.
He can do no wrong.
It's crazy how he gets a pass, man. It's amazing, really. I mean, dude,
the girl I worked with at Tao got $10 million. She's just hanging out, living off the interest. The Perkins waitress, I don't think got even near as much, and she's probably still working at fucking Perkins. That's the girl I felt bad for. I mean, I thought it was funny. His wife tried to whoop his ass with a golf club. I'm not saying I wouldn't have done the same. But yes, I would agree with you. I always laugh. Everybody loves Tiger. And I'm just like, yeah, he's Tiger. Okay, he's the greatest golfer ever. Doesn't mean I have to love him.
It's like these.
If Tom Brady acted the way Tiger did, holy shit.
Well, it's like these Steeler people. They like the Steelers. They completely give Big Ben a pass, like a total.
So here's the interesting thing.
Like Big Ben's another scumbag.
I don't know all of the Big Ben stuff. I will say this: when the Big Ben stuff happened, I was living in Las Vegas, and a friend of mine was the bartender that had to go to court and testify that everything that was seen. I am not going to sit here and argue about what happened when they went up to the room because I don't know. Obviously, there was only 2 people in that room. But the bartender that I was friends with at the time said that he didn't think Ben was guilty. And I said, that's interesting. But I have heard other stories about Ben throughout the years. Listen, I've said this on numerous shows, Jeff. If I was a professional male athlete, I would be the biggest fucking scumbag on the planet. You have money. You can be ugly. You don't even have to be attractive. Women flock to you and want to do all sorts of sexual things because of who you are or what your name is. I can't imagine. I give praise to some of these guys that are really well behaved or at least smart enough.
Yeah, but Kelly, you ever notice it only happens to some people?
That's what I mean.
Why does it only happen to some people?
I don't know.
Practically.
Okay. Well, that or you got caught. So do some guys just not get caught? I mean, my first experience with the NFL, my best friend in college was dating an NFL player, played for the Jets. This was when St. Louis was still the Rams. So this is a long time ago. We drive to St. Louis from Manhattan, Kansas. We go to the game. They get their asses kicked. The Jets guys are walking in to the hotel. We're parking the car. We walk in right behind them. I walk in and there are at least 40 women just hanging out in the lobby. And I look at her and I go, what's going on here? And she goes, oh, those are all the hoes. I'm like, what? She goes, oh, they're everywhere. They find out where the team hotel is and they just go and they just hang out. And I'm like, this is me. I'm 19 years old, living in Kansas going, wait, what? I had no idea that like this world, if you will, existed. And that was the first time I was ever exposed to it.
There are many women like that. And it's not just for athletes.
Well,
it happens everywhere.
I'm sure.
Even just like, the local, the guy making money, the drug dealers, I'll go out. I see them all the time. They always have chicks with them. And, generally, the women are just there and they're looking for a come up. That's all it is.
I guess I get it. I mean, where's the All-Star game? Salt Lake City? Something like that? I mean, like, are you really wanting to travel to Salt Lake City to meet these guys? Like, I could see if it was in Miami or someplace fun to be, but like, I'm not trying to go get turned up in Salt Lake City.
I always wondered with one of the reasons I thought about this is because I have you ever seen Jalen Hurts' girlfriend?
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Beautiful. She's like, I think she's like a doctor or something crazy. Like she was the valedictorian of her class. Why is that so rare to see? Like an athlete with they always seem to like be drawn to like the worst women possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I mean, when I was working at Bleacher Report back in the day, I did a lot of stuff with Chad Ochocinco. So when he started dating Sherelle, who he's now going to get married to, And here's this woman who's this real estate mogul in Tampa, Florida. And, I asked how they met, and she's like, oh, I slid into his DMs and I started laughing. But she was serious. She was like, there was just something about him that I was drawn to. So I just hit him up. And she's brilliant. She's so smart, Air Force veteran, like really smart woman, and has her own business and is already self-made prior to meeting a guy on her level. And I think that you're right. That is a very weird thing. And Tristan, no, I was not working in Vegas when they had the All-Star. I came the next year, but I heard stories about how bad the All-Star week was in Las Vegas. It was just an absolute, utter, unmitigated disaster.
Yeah, by the way, I mean, there used to be, I think it's still around, Baller Alert. Baller Alert is something where back in the day, if you lived in like Atlanta, let's say, it would notify you like where a player was going after the game.
Wow.
Right. And you just would see chicks line up, to try to be the Brittany Renner, or the whoever. Look at that kid. That kid, PJ Washington. I think he pays like $200,000 a month to that chick.
Yep.
And she straight up told him, like, yeah, I didn't care about you. I just wanted, like, you got to be a real depraved person.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though, is like, I think that that's something that this is a whole off subject topic, but I think that that's something that women have really had that weird shift where I don't quite understand it. Maybe they got their feelings hurt pretty bad, or was really done dirty by somebody, and it's just like a flip switch. I mean, I have a couple girlfriends that are like that, but hey, we're in our 30s. Like, I can see that some of these women are 24. What has happened to you so bad in the first 24 years of your life that you just have no conscience? I don't know. Also, these guys sometimes do it to themselves. Like when Le'Veon Bell got trick rolled, granted, I was a little mad at him about not playing that year because, of course, I drafted him as my first round pick. That was another dynamic fantasy football fail on my part. But when he got trick rolled, I laughed because I was like, good. I was like, because I was that pissed off. But I was like, what are you doing leaving two random women at your house when you go to practice? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you got to watch. I mean, I remember I heard a story one time about a girl that I know that went out on a date with an Eagles player. And she told me about, they sat down at dinner, and as soon as they sat down, he handed her a folder with an NDA and said, for us to pursue this any further, I need you to sign this.
Yep.
And she signed it. And, I'm not going to say what player it was, but, he's pretty big time. And he was very, smart with everything.
Jeff, I went to a club in LA that was owned by the same club that I worked at in Vegas. Me and a couple of girls standing at this other table. Wasn't that much fun. Justin Bieber walks in. Mind you, I think I'm like at least like 8 or 9 years older than Justin Bieber. I don't know how old he is, but like he couldn't have been the day after he turned 21, right? So I'm standing there like, do you guys want to go to Justin Bieber's table? I'm like, no, not really. And sure enough, I stay where I'm at. My two girlfriends walk over. They come back. They go, they wanted us to sign NDAs to hang out at this table. I go, well, was he at least buying like PJ Rose or something like worthwhile? And they're like, no. I'm like, then who are you? But I also understand who he is. There are women prior to him being married and doing all this other stuff that probably were trying to trap him or ruin his life or take some crazy picture of him and send it to TMZ. I mean, it's tough. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. That's for sure.
That's got to be a rough life, man. I mean, I feel bad for those type of people. Like I feel bad for like, the Kim Kardashians. And again, like I get like they bring it on themselves and that's their life. But it's like, it's got to suck to just like, you only have one life and yours it's never going to be the same again. Like you can't go out and just, I told a story real quick before we go. I told a story about when I was younger, my uncle told me a story. He lived in Florida for years. And he was telling me one time he went out, it was like 6 o'clock at night. It was about to be dark. And he went out in this pier to fish. Wasn't a big sports guy or anything. He said he was standing there. It was just him, the only person on the pier. He says, I'm standing there. And as I look out, there's a huge individual walking towards me. Huge, like biggest person I'd ever seen. He casts his line in. They stand next to each other, just start talking. He goes, oh, I'm so-and-so. I live down the street. He goes, oh yeah, I'm Shaquille. That's what he said.
Oh my
his
God,
name was.
how funny.
But my uncle didn't know who he was. He does not a sports guy. He doesn't know anything.
Yeah, but come on, you don't know who Shaq is?
But they're just talking about just, fishing and boating and that, it's kind of like a peaceful thing. And at the end, he had been there a lot longer than this guy, obviously, and he had packed up to go back home. And he said to him, he goes, "You don't know who I am, do you?" And he goes, "No, you seem like a nice guy, though. Maybe I'll see you again." He goes, "Well, I'm not going to tell you who I am." He goes, "But just know," he goes, "it was cool to just talk to you, just as like a regular person." Because he said never has that happen. Everybody knows who he is. And that would have to suck. Like, I even know, like, where I live, in the town I live in, I know for a fact there's a bar. I've went to it once. I bet I took 25 pictures with people just because they're Barstool fans. And I'm nobody. I'm an E-list celebrity. I'm not even a celebrity. But I couldn't imagine being like someone like that,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, you're probably right. I guess I just feel like most of it is a chosen lifestyle, right? Like Kim Kardashian chose to put out her sex tape, or her mother did, whoever did.
But did they ever think they would? But did she ever think, though, that she would get to be like where she is?
Maybe.
Like, you don't feel at all like at any point like, damn, that's gotta suck, Like, her kids will never have the life. Like, her family will never really have a life like they want to have. And they bring it on themselves, obviously, but it's got to be tough.
Interesting. No, I mean, yeah, I guess I enjoy meeting people out in public. I enjoy not necessarily when people recognize me, but if they're like, "Hey, can I have a picture? What do you like today?" Stuff like that. But you're right. If it was constant, like walking through the airport, you're hungover, you're tired, you're getting off the plane from Chicago, and like there's paparazzi, that kind of shit. Yeah, I would not enjoy that whatsoever.
Yeah, that'd be brutal. Like, if you're a Portnoy, even like, how many pictures do you think he takes on a regular basis?
Not only pictures that he takes on a regular basis, but like people hounding him. Do you remember the crazy Karen lady just a couple months ago, just screaming at him while he's trying to do a pizza review? It's like, yo, lady, calm down. Like, what's the big deal? What did I do now?
Well, I remember Eminem said in The Way I Am, he talked about how, like, people, and I kind of understand this now in a way, where like people think because you're someone they like that you have to change your life to benefit them, right? So like he talked about how when he'd be out with his wife and his daughter and he'd be eating a meal, and like people would like come up and bother him, and it's just like, yo, can I just eat?
I would never. I never would ever, ever, ever. I think that's a big thing that people do that they don't think about. I would never do that. I don't care if it's like, I guess I'm also not like a starstruck person, so I can't think of somebody that I'd want to do that with. But like, I remember one time we were at Aria, Michael Jordan was there, and I was with my buddy Colt, who now works for the PGA, but at the time he was on tour. And he's like, "Don't embarrass me." And I'm like, I love Michael Jordan, but if you think I'm going to walk up to him, you are out of your mind. Why would I bother this man who's enjoying a glass of whatever the hell he's drinking and a cigar right now? Like, he's got 45 other people in his face at all points in time. And he's like, "All right, just making sure." And then the one person that I did, because it was like a big weekend at Shadow Creek, was John Elway. And I was like, "All right, I have to ask you, like, can you take me to meet John Elway?" But by that point, it was like 3 a.m., way too many drinks. And I basically was like, "I love you. You're the reason why I love football. Thank you for making my childhood so special." And he's just like, "Who is this crazy girl?" But he had a good time. It's not like it was at dinner with his wife and his kid. And, otherwise I would never do that.
It's like, some people don't really realize
it's
like, hey, the world doesn't revolve around you. And by the way, shout out to Michael Jordan. It's his 60th birthday today.
Oh, well, happy birthday, Michael.
Yes. The greatest of all time. Don't get that.
Yes, absolutely. Not even up for debate.
So yeah, but no, like I posted a video yesterday. My sister, she was on the news for her business.
Oh yeah, I did see that. That was awesome.
Right. So it's like, but I have to like go through precautions. Like, anytime I put something out with my family, I make sure I contact them. I say, "Hey, are you okay with me putting this out?" I have to let you know it's like, people are just, they're so fucking rude. Like,
I mean, Grandma is a big focal point on my Twitter because she likes to go to games and she's over here a lot.
Oh, really?
We like to watch, and like, she says funny things. And I actually wanted to do some more content with her on Super Bowl, but I was so busy entertaining. It was kind of one of those things that didn't work out. But I like to put, and everybody's really nice about that. But then, I'm with my nieces and stuff. I'm like, I'm absolutely not posting any pictures of them that I can get away with,
better off.
without putting a smiley face or something over their face. There's a lot of weirdos out there. And I think it is important to have some semblance of privacy. Like, I don't need a lot of privacy. You can bag on me. I can take the hits. But yeah, like, there becomes a point in time where you're right. You're very cautious about what you would put up.
The only person that I would be legitimately excited to see in person would be Hasbullah.
Oh my God, he's hilarious.
He'd be the only person that I would actually go out of my way.
Would you just like pick him up and spin him around and give him a big hug? Like, that's what I feel like you guys meeting would be.
I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I would just be very happy. He wouldn't take a picture with you though.
He wouldn't?
Only me. No.
Oh.
He don't take pictures of women.
Is that because of his religion?
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's always like these TikTok girls, like blonde hair TikTok girls that are like, they see him in Dubai and he goes, no picture.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Hey, is he married? Does he have like
No, he's like 20. That's about it.
I still can't get past the fact that he's 20. I cannot. I feel like he's like 45. I don't know why, but I remember when he did the interview.
He's 45, but he also looks like he's like 8.
I know. I guess I just, seeing his videos and his attitude and like all of the things he's done, I'm like, there's no way he's 20 years old.
He is. I've gotten the you look like Hasbullah many times. So I mean, I look 45 and 14 at the same time.
You could be his taller brother.
I could probably. All right, Kelly, we're out of here. Have a good night.
Absolutely. We'll see you in the morning.
Check you all
Saturday
tomorrow.
Spaces, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Sorry for those on the West Coast, but we like to give out those last-minute plays, if you will, right before tip. Me, Megan, Jeff. That's about all I got for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, I like San Jose. I said that. I played it on the money line. I think we both agreed. So good luck tonight. Have fun. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.